As I look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then storming winds go too cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you is not what you foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done, but the time is hit you, you're not surprised.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. Essentially, Phil's going to be getting over Panda. He's gone ahead and he's basically X'd her out. You know, he went on Instagram the other night, deleted a bunch of pictures. Except for one or two that's still been found. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. All of those pictures of him and Panda and Phil have been archived. You can find it if you want it. It's not a problem. Second part, Phil doesn't like how Kat has been treated. And he feels that it's very unfair. And third, he is still continuing the lie about he didn't try to take down Detractor channels as well as videos. So where do we start? Let's start about the whole Detractor channels and videos in general that Phil allegedly didn't take down. That was a lie. That was something that the Detractors came up with so they can go ahead and keep drumming up drama so they can get cheap views for their channel. Phil, we caught you dead the fucking rights on that shit. One of your own boys went ahead and admitted that you did it. He has the text messages to prove it. Or the direct messages, the DMs from Twitter that kind of prove that. And from what everybody says, they look legit. It would be a whole lot of trouble to go through and try to fake that. So, given Phil's pinch in the lie, it is what it is. He'll always hang his hat, though, on that escort situation. As amusing as that shit was, he wants to hold that as his win. So be it. As it pertains to Kat, so he says that he's rather disgusted with how Kat's being treated. It's a bit unfair. She hasn't done anything yet. Okay, so people had some comments about how she looked, which would have been expected about anybody who shows their face online. Other than that, no one's done anything truly malicious to her, nor do I think anybody has any real intention to do so. So, it is what it is. And whatnot. It is what it is, I think. You know what I'm saying? She's going to have a little bit tougher skin when it comes to that circumstance, but no one has really went off the rails and dug into her for her appearance. It just hasn't happened yet, Phil, that you exaggerating yet again. So, do yourself a favor, Phil. Pull your skirt down. Next thing. Phil apparently has... Phil has finally gotten over that 5-year relationship with Panda. Finally, he's decided to let go. And finally move on with his life. Now, I question, why have you decided to do that now? The reason why is because, if I remember correctly, didn't Almighty Tevin do a video? Not the last video that came out, that's great. That was a great video. But the one before that, where Almighty Tevin said, hey, maybe you should go ahead and just get rid of all those old pictures. Or at least private them or something, because you are with Kat. Then all of a sudden, now those pictures are gone. Now, keep in mind, we all know that Phil actually watches Detractor videos, but is Phil starting to learn? Is subconsciously he's starting to absorb what people are saying? Riveting, isn't it? With that also being said, what's the situation with Kat now? Do you have her locked in, Phil? You got your claws dug into her? Could she never make an escape? Is she never going to be free? Is she literally locked down, dead to rights, no family, no friends, no one that can possibly pull her out? Is she done? Is she yours for all of eternity? Have you figured out a way to break her will in such a way that she can never go back? I'm asking this because even though you said, or he has said recently, that she has a job now, she's already started working at it, I should say. I mean, what is she going to do? Go to work, come home, do all of her chores, and then play Overwatch, and that's essentially her existence? That's all she has to live for? Does she not strive for anything else? Maybe to get married, have children, any of these things? We all know how you feel about getting married and having kids, Phil, but what is her thoughts on that? You guys are a couple, so you guys are kind of in this together. Maybe, just maybe, I'm coming at this at a little bit too rational of an angle. I've been known to do that. But any which way, let's go ahead and get into Snort Burnell's video. We'll see what comes out of that. I'm sure it'll be great. And I'll provide insight as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. So Phil, it's time to watch me work.
Here right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Sounds great.
My conclusion stream.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, as I had said earlier, we are here with Snort Burnell, Dspgaming, comparing Cat to Panda and lying about trying to shoot down Detractor channels as well as videos. Yeah. Also, Phil raged, as I think I've already mentioned it, but just to reiterate, Phil quit Sea of Thieves. He's such a quitter. He really is.
Oh, Sea of Thieves.
Now you may be saying, now wait a minute, final session of Sea of Thieves? Well, I don't get it. Why is this the final session? The game's brand new. It just came out on Tuesday, right? And you know, this is only your third session. You're only playing it 3 times. Well, what's the deal? Why is that? Well, it's very simple, folks. Because as of today, it seems I will have done everything available in the game. Really, there's only 2 major things left in the game: to hunt and fight the Kraken. Okay, that's number 1. And then number 2, to fight humans, which I did try to do once or twice. However, it's incredibly hard in the game because guess what? The world is incredibly empty and there's almost no other humans anywhere. In fact, I would say in the 2 whole days that I played the game, 7 hours of gameplay, I've probably seen 5 human ships, if that. And, you know, twice I think I tried to actually fight the human ships and got completely dominated.
Any moment, I can pick up a controller, and I can play any game at professional level.
You don't say.
So, you know, it just, that's the point I'm trying to make here. I think I've done everything. You know, if I were to keep playing this game, what would I do? The same shit again and again. You know, take over another skeleton stronghold that's the same as the other one. Do the same repetitive missions over and over to raise your guild rankings. Why would I bother?
I love gaming.
Yeah, I'm a gamer!
No.
Not at all.
I'll be honest with you guys, the past 2 days, it's been really difficult for me to stay on top of the game. It has. It's been really hard for me to stay on top of it and still give you guys your shout-outs for your tier subs and tips. And, you know, when I have to read your shout-outs, it basically breaks the immersion of the game, and the people who are playing with me are kind of like, you know, oh God, Phil's reading shout-outs. Because they're expecting me to be talking to them with, you know, communication about the game, and then all of a sudden they get distracted by shout-outs. You see what I mean? It's not like PUBG, where there's 20 minutes of dead time where you're just gathering resources and looking for a vehicle, and you have tons of time to interact with stream chat. It's kind of the complete opposite, where you really have to be hyper-focused on the game and playing with the people who you're co-oping with, and therefore you can't really focus on stream chat or anything like that. See what?
Is that why you don't want to play Fortnite, Phil? Because it doesn't give you enough time to pander to your audience to give you more money for your taxes. Hashtag save the house. Hashtag help get Lunchables for Cat. Just asking.
I mean,
Everything's got to be about making the almighty dollar.
you know, probably play for about 3 hours or so, and then I'm going to end the gameplay a little bit early, because I'm going to do a live review of Sea of Thieves right here on the stream.
Why?
Now, wait a second, Phil. Haven't people been asking you to do that for a little while now? And didn't a couple of detractors say that to you also? and now all of a sudden you're doing it. Could be a coincidence, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Starting in April.
Speaking of which, let me cut him off for a second. Not to come to Phil's defense, but surprisingly enough, there are a number of people currently that have a bit of issues with Sea of Thieves. Boogie, for example, has come out and said something, as well as a few others, in the fact that it's kind of lacking, as most games are, to be honest with you, that are coming out these days. So Phil's not, in that boat by himself. What I think, though, if I had to give you my honest opinion, is that he's been keeping an eye on other bigger YouTubers and seeing what they've been saying on Twitter and different platforms, respectfully, and that's what made him draw his conclusion, if I had to say. But it's just a thought, it's just a theory.
My streams are going to change. All right, how are they going to change? They're going to be earlier. All right, earlier on, and what that means is roughly an hour, maybe an hour and a half earlier. Do you want to play the fucking game? It's because I'm trying to basically get in line with a normal schedule, which I've never done. Throughout all the years that I've live streamed and all this, I never really had a normal human schedule. I was sleeping in way too late, waking up and basically streaming first in the afternoon, then taking a break for dinner, then have streaming late at night. And my late night stream, no one in Europe could really watch it because it was so late over there.
Since when did you care about Europe? Especially since Brightside Viking's gone. So since when has Europe been a priority for you, Phil? And to be honest with you, didn't you try something like this similar with Panda? Like early on? Like not long after she got a job, I guess, and you guys were trying to, work out some type of semblance of a relationship? Because she felt that every time that she had free time, you were just working, and you guys were slowly but surely distancing yourselves. I'm pretty sure you said that in a pre-stream. And you said that you were going to change your work schedule so it could be a little bit more in line with hers, so you guys could spend more time with each other. I'm pretty confident I've heard you say this before. I'm pretty confident I've heard this song and dance. We all have. Maybe that's me just jumping to conclusions, though.
And then I was staying up way too late. So now what's happening is Kat has, she's working now, and she has like kind of normal office hours. She goes in early in the morning, and she leaves, in the early to late afternoon some days. Some days she works a little later, but with those hours, I don't even see her. Like this morning when I woke up, she was gone. She comes home from work when I'm working. We see each other at dinner, but then I do a second stream, and she has to go back to sleep to go to work the next day. So for this whole week,
Actually, it's funny because Burnell says that the pig roach is trying to avoid the same situation that happened with the ex-daughter that time when Tyrone took her and gave her a good life. And the rumors of her using a wheelchair. Oh, man. Wow. Snort Burnell's great. But, yeah, this is exactly what it sounds like. I don't think it's nearly as... It's not nearly as comical as Snort Burnell said. What I think it is he's going to try to keep a lot tighter tabs on Kat, unlike with the Panda. He let the Panda roam off on her own. She started developing friends. She started to kind of develop a personality. You know what I'm saying? Tyrone hollered, caught her one day and whatnot. Gave her that work, and she had never gone back like she's supposed to. And I don't think Phil wants that to happen again. I don't think Phil's ego could really survive losing 2 daughters. You know what I mean? In such a short amount of time. I don't think he could. I don't think Phil can manage to know that a better man came up on him twice and took what he felt was rightfully belonging to him. I'm not sure if Phil can attract another one after this. And if he does, she would probably be the worst of the bunch. She would probably be the one to end up slicing his throat in his sleep or something along those lines. You know what I mean? So Phil really, really, really doesn't want things to go bad this time around. Because this might be his last shot. This might be the last made for him. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know how, like the Last Samurai, for example, with Tom Cruise, Kat may very well be the last soulmate. You know what I mean? He can't risk it. He really can't. not only for what she provides him physically, but for his own ego, for his own for him mentally, his own sanity. He just can't afford it. He really can't. He might actually break after this, maybe, but we'll see.
Barely seen her, and we're like, this can't work. This is not working. We gotta change stuff. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start going to bed earlier, but I'm gonna start waking up earlier. Okay, which allows me then to see her in the morning, and allows me to have a stream that's earlier, so I can end my stream earlier. So when she's coming home from work, I'm done with streaming, and now we have time to spend together. We can have dinner together, and then second stream is earlier. Like my second stream right now starts roughly around 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to start probably around 6:15 p.m. Pacific time. So we're talking about another hour, 15-minute difference, and that stream's going to end earlier. See what I mean? So now I'll have some time to spend with her at night before she goes to sleep to go to work the next morning. So that's what I'm doing.
Shout outs.
We'll see how long he holds up to that, but the time frame is still off. I'm pretty sure I've done a video, or I have a video in the clip that actually breaks that down further. But him moving everything up an hour is not going to be good enough. He needs to make a drastic jump, because to be honest, he needs to put himself in position to attract a whole new batch of piggies, or piglets even, to bring into the pig pen. He really needs a whole new demographic of people, and to do so, he has to step out of his comfort zone, and he needs to get into another time frame. He needs to be able to kind of poach from some of the other streamers and try to pull that in, instead of staying where he's at, being comfortable and becoming stagnant. Just my personal opinion, though. DSP News.
Shout out to Jose Cuervo 527 who subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Jose Cuervo, for the sub. What a complete idiot. Oh, gee, thanks. Jose Cuervo 527 for subscribing. Thank you.
Oh, so that's pretty funny, actually.
Really, thank you. If I could get down on my hands and knees and say thank you and still be on camera, I would do it. Okay? I seriously would do it.
God damn, that was pathetic. That was a hard moment to watch. That really was. Jesus Christ. It's true what they say. Some people who lack character and have too much pride would literally sell their souls for money. It's kind of sad how that's actually true.
Thank you. Thank you very, 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 very much. For me, thank God.
King of Hypocrisy did a cheer, and he says, Phil, I can understand why your haters go after you, but why do they attack your girlfriend? She's barely been involved in your content. She hasn't done anything controversial or negative. Are they just jealous or something? That is an interesting question, King of Hypocrisy. And obviously the first answer that any logical person would say is just that these people are not nice people. They are gross people. It's obvious that it's funny. It's very funny. And here's why I say this. All of this move.
Wait a second. I mean, Phil Burnell is saying that who attacked Cat, and that's a good question in its own right. But who the hell are you to talk about who are not nice people? Like, who are you of all people to say that? I mean, I was gonna save this for another video, Phil, but since you want to start, since we're gonna start drawing blood on each other, well, actually, I haven't been nicked. Oh well, I guess I'll just get first blood on you then. You remember those two guys, right? Those two chums of yours, best buddies. The ones that were riding on your coattails, and as soon as you moved from Connecticut to Seattle, they kind of couldn't wait to get rid of you, and everything that they had was because of you, and so on and so forth. Of course, those weren't his exact words on that last part. I just threw that in there. Whatever. You know Phil, in his head, he's thinking that. It's funny how, what was that guy's name? A guy who sounded like a movie star. What's that guy's name? Starts with a J, ends with an R. Well, ends with an O, actually, but you know what I mean. His last name begins with an R. What's that guy's name? John Rambo. Yeah, there we go. John Rambo. Yeah. John. It's funny how John just hit his 200th episode of John Rambo's Presents the Show. And it was actually great. Not that I would expect it not to be, but it was actually really great. They had a band there. He has great production, really nice, clean setup. Howard ended up coming on the show, as well as some other guests. They talked about a bunch of different topics. Extremely well done and whatnot. And to be honest with you, for two guys who spent their time hanging on your coattails, they seem pretty happy. And they both seem to be doing pretty well with their lives. Which, as I had said on Twitter, Kat, take notes, because there is life after Phil. That wasn't an attack on her, at least not in a malicious way. It was just pointing out that, hey, there is hope for her outside of Phil, which is what a lot of people had said. But you weren't talking about that. I doubt that you're reading my tweets. But yeah, so do you have any comments on the situation with John and Howard and how they're doing? And how, those supposed not good people, because they didn't reach out to you or they didn't want to participate in your content after you moved, and how they were jealous of you and your success. You have anything to say about them? You have anything to say about those bad people? No? Okay. Well, so let's go ahead and get back to you. Phil, you've gone through one daughter. You have another one chained up now. I'm glad that you decided to put that one on a very, very tight leash. You're in debt. You have little to no friends to speak of. You barely speak to your family unless you're asking for money. You are in a pretty low position where people are starting to wonder who's worse between you and Wings of Redemption. And Rich from Review Tech is starting to get thrown into that conversation, but he's not there yet. Hopefully he avoids all that altogether. You're in a real bad spot, Phil, and you have been for a while. You've been slowly but surely dying out. And because of that, you've lashed out at the very fan base who have done, and that this is admirable in a lot of ways, have given up a lot to keep you where you're at. And to try to elevate you and try to help you push forward despite some of the setbacks that you've had. And yet you still shitted on them for it. You still publicly humiliated some of them for it. And then you have the nerve to go back on your hands and knees, head bent, holding your hat in your hand, so to speak, and ask these very people who you've treated like shit for money. So who's truly the bad person in all this? Just saying. DSP News.
Against me, the negative movement against me on the internet, this is how you don't play and all that, all hid under the guise or the cloak of we are criticism against Phil and his content on YouTube. We are strongly criticizing Phil. We just want him to improve. We don't feel that he deserves success because he doesn't put in time or effort, or his content is too negative and blah, 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 blah. That's what it all hid under, all right? That's what it was, okay? However, if you guys have not noticed, in the past year to 2 years, in particular this last year, when I adjusted hugely to what people wanted, I became a live interactive streamer, right? And I do things a lot differently now. All of a sudden, all those valid criticisms of Phil's content seem to have gone away, and now all it's become is ridiculously slanderous personal attacks.
What? Silver-tongued talker, right? Oh, I'm just going to say it one way, and hopefully you'll believe it, even though that's not the truth. And that's literally what's happening here. The guy's a liar. The guy's a fucking blatant liar and lying to everyone. But people are believing it because they don't know any better. I'm good at lying.
That aren't true, right? Take a look at some of the stuff that people have said about me. I'm violent towards children.
Good, now I'm away from that annoying fucking bitch of a kid who I would have slapped in real fucking life if they talked to me like that.
Or women, I hire escorts, I do all that. And when you actually look at the situations, you're like, it's either completely factually wrong, or they took something so ludicrously out of context to try to spin it to make me look bad. And this is what people say about me now. No one really is coming in and saying, oh, well, you know, Phil's streams aren't good anymore. It's not true. No one says that.
That's 100% a lie.
Exactly.
Everyone's like, wow, Phil's streams have been more positive. They're good. So now we have to find something else to attack Phil for because we need to still put out our negative videos to get attention. And really, as I said earlier, that's just the bottom line of it all. The only reason they're doing it isn't to prove a point and isn't to get me to change and isn't to end me on the internet. It's to get their cells' attention. yeah.
You think I'm the villain? Go fuck yourself.
Because outside of making negative content about me, they don't get any attention. No one would give a fuck about any of these people if they didn't constantly make negative videos about me. So that's why they do it. All right? Now, in particular, all right?
Well, then, if that's the case, and I mean this seriously, where would you be at, Phil, if the detractors did stop making content on you? Do you think for some reason your views on YouTube would get any better? Would you possibly change your format as it pertains to YouTube? Would you stop trying to flood the YouTube with like 20, 30, 40 videos a day and go to something reasonable? Would your attitude somehow change? Are you going to somehow get out of debt? Would you get a job if the detractors went away? Please explain to me exactly how you're trying to make moves to better yourself, and yet the detractors are holding you back from that. Or somehow hindering you from doing all that. Please explain, because I'd love to hear it. I really would.
When you're talking about my girlfriend Kat, you're absolutely right. Since I even announced her existence, you've seen 3 pictures of her, one of her putting up ornaments on my Christmas tree, one of her when she first arrived here, and one of her on Valentine's Day. And then you've seen her in one video. And that's it. The other stuff that people have dug up are stuff from her past, over a year ago. You know, she did a few videos on the internet, gameplay videos, she did a couple streams on Twitch. Outside of that, she had a Twitter she almost never really used, and she hasn't used it for about a year. And she's done with it.
You hear how panicked he is right now? He's not necessarily manic, at least not yet, but he's damn sure panicked. Calm down, Phil. Jesus.
She doesn't want to have any part to do with it because she knows what would happen if she tried, right? She knew all this actively when she decided to enter a relationship with me, that she wouldn't be able to do certain things because of the negativity and shit that gets associated. So she knew, all right? So, literally, you...
Wait, so I'll bring that back just because, but like, who agrees to those circumstances? Who agrees to give up freedom to be with somebody? I want you to really think about that for a minute. Like, she seemed to be pretty happy online, at least for the most part, with what little we saw of her. And she was willing to give up some of those spaces that she used to move around in just so she could be with Phil. And that doesn't seem, just to be with anybody, not just Phil, but to be with anybody. Just imagine, for some of you out there, if you wanted to get into a relationship with anybody, they said, oh, well, I kind of don't have the best reputation, so you would have to give up some things. That right there in itself should, just put up red flags. You shouldn't have to give up anything to be in a relationship. You shouldn't have to give up your friends. You shouldn't have to give up your family. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to give up certain hobbies. I mean, there's certain stuff that we outgrow. That's one thing. But to blatantly just stop, just because your significant other, or your potential significant other says, no, I don't want you doing that, is a bit harsh. You know what I mean? Now, keep in mind, in all relationships, there has to be sacrifices. But really? She's just going to give up everything that she has online, which may or may not mean anything, to be with Phil. To cook his meals. To wash his clothes. To clean up after him. And then go to work. That's what she gave, that's what she decided to give up what little bit of an online kind of environment that she had. That's what she gave it all up for. It makes you yet again wonder, what situation did she walk out of? And it also continues, at least in my eyes, to reinforce the fact that this is an arrangement, not a relationship. They're roommates, essentially. That's just me, though. DSP News.
Streams on Twitch. Outside of that, she had a Twitter she almost never really used, and she hasn't used it for about a year. And she's done with it. She doesn't want to have any part to do with it because she knows what would happen if she tried, right? She knew all this actively when she decided to enter a relationship with me, that she wouldn't be able to do certain things because of the negativity and shit that gets associated. So she knew, all right? So, literally, you know nothing about her except the few things that I've talked about and the one time she's been in videos. What else do you know? Nothing. You're absolutely right, King of Hypocrisy. She said nothing controversial. She said nothing inflammatory, all right? Now, I will make a direct comparison here.
Is he nervous? Or is he just like... Is he just for a loss of words? Or is his throat just dry? Like, what is that? I feel like he's doing that much more frequently than he normally does. It's not necessarily getting annoying, but it does, it is starting to command my attention a little bit.
That guy needs to be kicked in the freaking balls. He's an asshole.
Probably.
My ex-girlfriend was the opposite. My ex-girlfriend was very confrontational, very controversial. She would go on Twitter and argue with people and say things.
So did you. So, in truth, she was just following your lead. Like all good daughters do. They want to follow in the footsteps of their daddies and try to make them proud. Oh, so it's no surprise that the Panda would go ahead and do that. Look at where she learned it from. She had a rather not even a good teacher, but she had her influences. Let's just say that.
We argue with people in videos. You know what I mean? Like, she had a very confrontational personality, and I can understand that people had issues with her. And I think for a lot of people, all right, sadly, and I hate to say this, I've said this over the years, they have this black and white mentality in their head. So Phil used to go out with someone who was very confrontational and very kind of always kind of angry towards the internet. So that means immediately if he's going out with someone new, we have to treat her exactly the same way. We have to deride her and attack her and make personal attacks and say nasty things about her because it's Phil's girlfriend and their last girlfriend was one way, so this new girlfriend is the same.
No. That's not how life works.
It's not. And that's fucked up. People literally think in black and white. Like, if it was one way, it must always be this way. So...
Actually, I'm pretty confused right now.
You know, it's hilarious because people, until up to the moment that I announced, that I was going out with Kat, people were still bringing up a situation in Stream Chat that happened in 2013, alright? I mean, how many years ago? Saying that my ex-girlfriend was mad at people of the Kingdom Hearts stream and blah, 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 and they use that as a reason to, like, hate on me and hate on her. It's ridiculous, right? What the fuck does that have to do with 2018, right? See what I mean? But that's how people...
Because you handled the situation bad and you still continue to handle situations bad. That's why they keep bringing it up.
People are. They never forget the past.
That's like me, right? That's like me.
So I get the feeling there's a group of people who they're so used to hating on me and hating on my girlfriend that even though there's a totally new, beautiful...
Obviously.
By the way, I am real. Just for all the people who think I don't exist, I am real.
This guy has, like, no social skills whatsoever.
Smoke weed every day.
Loving person in my life who is very, very, very fucking different from my ex, okay? Kat is a totally different kind of person. She doesn't want to be part of internet drama. She has no desire to argue with people on the internet. She wants to just have a nice life with me. And, gaming, yes, she likes gaming. She just wants it to herself. She doesn't want to be part of this big toxic environment of YouTube and Twitch. And she just wants to have fun with a life here with me and not be a part of my content all the time. She doesn't. She does not want to be in every video.
Dramatic, toxic content. Stop being a drama queen.
She does. She want to be part of stuff occasionally? Absolutely. She does. Every once in a while, if I do a DSP tries it, or if we're vlogging somewhere, maybe we're going somewhere new we've never been before, we're going to do some travel vlogs, some stuff like a holiday vlog, stuff like that. Yes, then she wants to be involved. But she doesn't want to be in every playthrough. This game, A Way Out, is coming out tomorrow. And I asked her, are you interested in doing this co-op game, A Way Out, with me? She said, no. Honestly, I'm not very interested in it. And, I would rather wait, if we're going to do co-op together, to play a game that we both are into, and we both can get into together, and do a fun playthrough of. I want to just jump into any old game just for the sake of getting into any old game to be in your footage. That's not how I am. See what I mean? How different that is? Do you want to play the fucking game?
Actually, to be honest with you, that sounds like he was trying to convince her to get into that co-op game, and she said no. She blatantly turned it down. That's what it sounded like. I understand how Phil wants to flip it, but that's what it really sounds like. As it pertains to his temper, as it pertains to people wanting to see her and him in vlogs and things like that. Who's asking for that? To be honest, there's nobody on the detractor side that I can really think of that's asking for that. So that would have to be from your own fan base. And most of them were pretty adamant about not wanting her in your content anyway, as a form of protection. So who are you really trying to convince here, Phil? It's very obvious that you feel, looking at the whole that last video you did about with her, and also your first unveiling her, you saw the views and you were like, yeah, I need that. I really do. And in Phil's eyes, if he can get a couple playthroughs that break, or a couple of playthrough videos that can break over 500, get into the thousands, he would probably be ecstatic. So you're already kind of seeing the desperation already. There's nobody trying to pull her into this but you, to be perfectly honest. So you having all this attitude and saying this, that, and the third, and the detractors did this, the haters did that, and the trolls did this. No one's gonna sit there and fall on that sword for you. The last person who did that was Brightside, and even he questions that now. So don't sit there and try to make these implications that we're purposely trying to out her, this, that, and the third, and now we're trying to force your hand, and that's why you don't want to put her in videos and so on and so forth. If she has her own mind and doesn't want to be in these videos, then so be it. End the story. That doesn't affect myself. It doesn't affect Almighty Tevin. It doesn't affect David Davison. It doesn't affect D. It doesn't affect Gout Police. It doesn't affect Memology 101. It doesn't affect anybody but you at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind before you start casting blame at people. Just say.
So, there you go. It's not fair. It's absolutely 100% unfair for people to be attacking Pat. She has
Also, you bringing Panda into this, yet again, that's your own doing. You know what I'm saying? Was Panda a bit more aggressive than people gave her credit for? I think so. But at the same time, you're the one who molded her into that whole situation, to where she was taking down certain people's videos, and she was doing this, that, and the third on Twitter. That falls really a lot at your feet, more than anybody else. So, if you can't keep tabs on Daddy's little girl, then you got to do something else. You got to figure out something else, I should say. Just saying. DSP News.
nothing to do with my ex-girlfriend. She has nothing to do with me or my content. She's a completely separate person and entity, and for people to be attacking her...
Obviously, personally attacking her, physically attacking her, that's 100% a lie. And it's 100% wrong. I know you're lying. I'm good at lying.
This guy's a bitch.
Bill tells me, I don't go to his stream, so I don't know, what people say.
All these things that they're saying about her nasty on the internet is ridiculous. What the fuck? You don't even know the girl.
And this is the thing, honestly, because people, again, for years, well, all the criticism against Phil is valid. Just look at it, saying that his content is terrible. None of this is about this anymore. Now you're literally making up nasty shit about me and my current girlfriend, that has nothing to do with anything in the past. You're literally making personal attacks against her. You don't even know her. So if anything, that exposes the toxic, disgusting, immoral people on the internet who are only doing it for personal gain. They are not here to criticize anything that I'm doing. They are not here to criticize it.
Now, this goes back to something that I'd already said, in the fact that she was nothing more than a shield. She really was. She's nothing more than a shield. She's just another kind of roadblock, so to speak. Another wall, even, between Phil and the haters and detractors and all that. That's all she is. And that's why I said that she was collateral damage. Because at the end of the day, he's just trying to insulate himself. And most of the whales, or most of the people who used to play that position, are no longer there. That's why he needs Kat. That's why he needs her. And he's hoping that he puts her in the forefront and say, hey, don't attack her, she didn't do anything wrong, and then hides behind Matt, believing that that's somehow going to save him. Like that somehow gives him a level of invincibility in some ways. And it doesn't, Phil. It really doesn't. At the end of the day, you're just making yourself, you're going to make yourself a further target because people can see through it. People can see the fact that you're just using her as a shield. You're just using her as a shield, as a human shield, as a wall, as a barrier between you and the opposition. It's very obvious that's what that is. It'd be very hard for you to, be able to explain otherwise unless you can get Brightside Viking off suspension. Outside of that, you're kind of stuck. This is the reality, Phil. This is the reality. So, if I was you, just a friendly piece of advice, just don't put Cat in anything, to be honest with you. And then that kind of fixes the situation altogether. Now keep in mind, I'm sure she doesn't want to be cooped up in the house all day. No one told you to vlog it. No one's telling you to press that record button. So if you're going to do it, then just go out and do it and have a good time. You don't need to vlog that. But I'm sure that despite you watching this video, you won't take any of the advice. So we'll just go ahead and wait and see, won't we?
Anything she does because she's done nothing. They're literally only here to insult for the sake of insulting, so you'll watch their drama videos and they get views on YouTube. Period.
And if you support those fucking people and watch their content, you're part of the problem. That's the bottom line. You are. Because if you watch that shit, that filth, alright, you're the reason why YouTube sucks. You're the reason why YouTube is how it is. Because you support garbage content. And you should not do it. And you shouldn't be here on stream, and you shouldn't fucking be doing any kinds of negative shit against people you don't know.
It's fucked up. It really is.
But you do it. You watch the Detractor channels too. And as well as I'm sure some of the people that are in your little inner circle. So what makes you any better?
It's really fucked up. So grow up.
It's Skittle time. Ask, am I trying to get Detractor channels taken down? No.
Oh, man. Oh.
No, I'm not doing anything with any Detractor channel.
I wonder how long he's going to try to keep up that lie. I'm really curious to see how long he does it. I feel like it's not even worthwhile at this point, but it's Phil, so, if there's some type of silver lining to it, he'll go for it.
Whatsoever. Anything you're hearing is complete and utter fucking bullshit. I don't have time for that shit. I'm here streaming constantly. When I'm not streaming, I'm with Kat or doing other stuff. I don't have time for the fucking bullshit. People making shit up completely out of fucking thin air. I'm so tired of it. I really am. Burn in hell, Burnell.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna burn in hell for the rest of eternity because of it.
Probably.
You can't change who you are, I guess. What pasta do you prefer? I prefer...
Alright, so there we go. Somewhat eventful, I guess. Could have been better. But, Phil is still, holding on to the lie about he didn't try to orchestrate a takedown of videos and channels behind the scenes, despite the fact that the overwhelming proof that's against him. He seems to be a bit outraged about the situation with Kat. Then again, she's merely just another wall in between himself and the haters and detractors. And at the same time, though, too, she is probably the last faction of sanity that he has. If he loses her to another person, or if she just wakes up and decides to leave on her own, he might be crushed by that. Time will tell, but it's my guess, and for that reason and for that reason only, you'll see him keep her on a very, very, very tight leash from this point on. No pun intended. He doesn't want to risk another one getting away. Just my personal opinion. And for him quitting Sea of Thieves, no one should be surprised by that. And as I said earlier, there are other people who feel the same way, slightly as Phil does. So that is what that is, I guess. At the end of the day, when you put your money down to buy a game, it should be complete. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that DLCs and microtransactions and all this is a really good cash grab, kind of like what fundraising was to Phil on Twitch. but eventually it'll come to an end or it'll be regulated. And if it's regulated, it screws up everything for everybody. EA is probably the perfect example of that situation. That's pretty much it. That's all I really have. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. I'm your host / anchor, GTG, signing off. In the broadcast. And just for the record, Phil, since I know you're listening, don't compare your new girlfriend to your old one. Or at least don't do it publicly. It just makes you seem petty. It really does. And it also shows that you haven't let go completely. So, there you go. But keep deleting those pictures, though, Phil. Keep deleting those pictures.